Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, just with the Common Nerd, bringing you pop culture and all things through a common sense lens. And you know, the rumor mill is always wild, right? Especially when it comes to Star Wars. You know, we've got Doomcock, and I used to be one of those people that used to fall for like Mike Zero's videos and like stuff like that. And it's one of them situations, ladies and gentlemen, we know a lot of fans are desperate to jump on stuff like this because of the abysmal state that we currently find ourselves with Disney Story, Disney Star Wars, and of course the Bob Iger Corporation that owns all of that kind of stuff. And it's one of them situations where more often than not, we do like to talk about rumors, right? We do enjoy our rumor mill, especially if it's something that we're cautiously optimistic about, hopefully trying to get excited for things that might actually be going right. And of course, occasionally when things might be going wrong. But more often than not, we try to stick with our rumor sources out there that have been very reliable track records in the past. That's why we go to That Park Place all the time. We quote WDW Pro. We don't really quote My Time to Shine Hello very often anymore, and a couple of these other places out there. But one of the places that we do have enjoyed quite a lot, and it turns out he's been right at least one thing that Daredevil was indeed going to be good, is our friend Chris Gore. And that's why we're talking about this, ladies and gentlemen. Also because he wants us to talk about this, because he wants more than one source out there to relay this information to him to find out what is actually true or not, or if this is just a one-off source out there. But the source, where this source comes from, the industry that they're a part of, makes you kind of pause and think that maybe there's a little bit more to this, because, you know, we love Doomcock and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure that I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that there are people inside of the Walt Disney Corporation, executives at high levels, that have absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, discussed the idea of selling Star Wars off to another company. Why? Because the ratings are in a disaster. It's been a financial apocalypse for the company as far as all of the money they have literally burnt and wasted. I mean, they have burnt tens of billions of dollars on Star Wars alone, all trying in an attempt to turn it into a girl brand that has done nothing more than find their toys not at the hot aisle out there at Walmart, no, but at the bargain bin over there at Ollie's, ladies and gentlemen. Star Wars has done nothing but cost the Disney Corporation money right from the get-go. So I guarantee you there are people inside of that corporation that have talked about selling this particular IP. But ladies and gentlemen, this is from someone outside of the corporation saying that yes, Disney has actually made moves behind the scenes to attempt to sell Disney Star Wars, to at least find out if anybody would be interested in buying it, which is why I think this might be a little bit more solid out there. And hopefully with all of these videos and everybody talking about this, Chris Gore can find him another source that can help verify this as well. So we're going to check this article from thatparkplace.com, getting all of the juicy details of exactly what this rumor says and for how long they've currently been trying to do this. But before we do, if you do enjoy our content, hit that like button, share with all your friends, and subscribe or follow if you have not already, boys and girls, because we are grinding. We are growing. We just crossed 1,600. We're on our way to 17, and I could not do that without every single one of you. Also, leave us a comment in the section down below. Let me know what you think about this. Do you trust Chris Gore? Do you think his source is reliable? Do you think this is absolutely a possibility? Or do you think the headache for Disney trying to sell off Star Wars would be more headache than what it's worth, and they would probably just prefer to shelve it over trying to sell off the brand? Let us know what you think about this in the comment section down below. And if you'd like to support the channel, please check out the links in the description as well. All right, from thatparkplace.com and our dear sweet Montenero. Rumor: Chris Gore reports Disney has been trying to sell Star Wars for 7 months, but no one will buy it. Film threat seeks additional information. Yes, boys and girls. And I mean, honestly, depending on how much money they're asking for and considering the current state of Disney Star Wars with the merchandising and everything else, I mean, who would want to buy something that's like a losing brand like this unless you're like a super fan out there who wants to go out there and buy it and turn it all around? Which honestly, if this all ends up being true, I really hope that's exactly what happens. Let's make Star Wars great again, shall we? A new rumor has surfaced from Film Threat's Chris Gore and Alan Ng, suggesting that Disney has been quietly looking to sell Star Wars for the past 7 months, but reportedly there have been no takers. Gore, who has industry connections outside the media sphere, claims a trusted source in the financial sector informed him that Disney has been putting out feelers to gauge interests in selling Star Wars or potentially Lucasfilm as a whole. However, despite months of searching, the entertainment giant has allegedly failed to secure an interested buyer. Star Wars. and nobody wants to buy it, boys and girls. I mean, that is so insane. I have to take a drink of water. That's just absolutely, no one wants to buy Star Wars. So there's not some crazy Saudi prince with more money than he'll ever know what to do with it. Doesn't like, oh yeah. Because I mean, honestly, the Saudis have been getting into like the Star Wars, are getting into the movie making business. So who knows? Maybe one of those guys with more money than brains actually will pull this off. But yeah, rest in peace, Star Wars. That's just insane. That is insane. So, Gore was careful to clarify this information comes from a single source and remains unconfirmed. However, he decided to bring the rumor to light in the hopes of encouraging others within the industry to corroborate or provide additional details. So Gore says, this is from a friend who is not in the nerd space, not in a YouTube space, not a media person. This is a friend in the world of finance. So yes, this isn't somebody like working in the entertainment industry. This isn't somebody out there in Hollywood. This is somebody from the finance industry, boys and girls, a banker, an investment guy, something like that. This isn't your normal kind of source for this kind of thing out there. Because if the financial sector is aware of it out there, that means Disney has actually made legitimate moves to put feelers out there to try to see if anybody's interested in buying this. So they are serious, or at least considering it if it's for the right amount of money. But it sounds like ain't nobody want to spend money on it. A trusted individual who says for 7 months they have put feelers out about selling Star Wars. It remains unclear whether Disney is looking to sell the entire Star Wars brand, Lucasfilm, as a whole or just a selected assets, which is something Gore put out there in the video as well. Given Disney's deep integration with Star Wars, though, Disney Plus theme park attractions and merchandise and licensing deals, any potential sales would likely be complex. But it's not out of the realm of possibilities, right? There's licensing agreements that happen all the time. I mean, the Marvel characters are still over there at Universal despite Disney owning all of that. So literally, like, none of this is out of the realm of possibility. Licensing agreements happen all the time. And then there's an argument to be made that Marvel certainly is a way more complex and way more involved situation than what Star Wars would be with the limited amount of characters it's got. Of course, you got to include the expanded universe, which yes, it's the expanded universe. It is not Legends. It's the expanded universe, but like, that's books, right? There's not a lot of major characters and stuff like that people know the faces of them, like when you Captain America or the X-Men or stuff like that. So the licensing situations wouldn't be near as complicated. The most surprising aspect of the rumor isn't just that Disney may be looking to part with the franchise it acquired from George Lucas for $4 billion. So yeah, $4 billion up front and not a single thing since has made a profit. So yeah, not so good. I mean, there's arguments to say that The Force Awakens made a profit, but we know The Last Jedi lost money. Obviously, Solo lost money, and you've seen the ratings that have happened to the Disney Star Wars shows, right? Yeah, those are all losses as well. Is that it's going to Gore's source, there are no interested buyers. Gore emphasized they've been shopping it for 7 months and can't find a buyer. Even the financial sector, even anybody else that would be interested in buying this. There's two arguments to be made, and actually it's both of them actually kind of conflate to the exact same thing. Either all the studios are too broke and Disney's asking for too much, or everybody out there understands that Star Wars is a dead brand as it sits right now because of what Disney and the Bob Iger Corporation have done to it. Specifically, what Kathleen Kennedy has done to Disney Star Wars, because this has been her entire baby right from the get-go. And what did she have to have? A self-insert of a Mary Sue who could take down any man she met out there. And guess what? That's exactly what we got with Rey Palpatine, and it completely and totally blew up in their faces. Worse than the first Death Star. Yeah, it's those kind of tragedies out there. And guess what? Everybody else out there knows it. Anybody with half a thinking brain inside of their head, who is not just an industry shill or some pixie duster out there who snorts everything that comes out of Disney's ass, all know what has happened to this brand. The damage that Kathleen Kennedy and Disney has allowed to happen to the once money-printing behemoth that was the Star Wars IP. It's over. They've killed it. And guess what? Now they're trying to sell off its corpse. This raises questions about whether the high asking price, constructual entanglements, or the current state of Star Wars franchise under Disney leadership are dissuading potential buyers. The franchise has seen significant downs in recent years, with multiple projects that have struggled to resonate with audiences. To be more blunt, Star Wars hasn't had a successful property in years. You could argue that the first seasons of Mandalorian 1 and 2, right, were successful. But as far as profitability, I highly doubt it, because we know the kind of insane budgets that Disney has been spending on these shows. And that was at the height of them trying to put stuff out for their streaming service. So I'd imagine the budget for Mando season 1 and 2 is probably even more than for things like The Acolyte, which of course completely and totally failed. Many, the power of many. Yeah, color me shocked there. That didn't go over very well with Star Wars fans. If Disney were to sell Star Wars, the specifics of such a deal would likely be intricate. Alan likened it to selling the Playboy Mansion with Hugh Hefner still residing inside. Something that happened, so it's not out of the realm of possibility, boys and girls. Emphasize how deeply Disney is embedded in the brand. Are you really buying Lucasfilm, or are you just an owner in name only, and Disney will still run the thing? Which, of course, I don't think anybody's going to want to put up with, right? Nobody's going to want to do that. Not especially no studio that wants to buy this kind of thing, which who else would want to buy it? You're not just going to own... What are you going to own, the licensing rights to a bunch of products that you don't have any help creating, that are just going to flop because this is kind of Disney garbage? No one would agree to that deal, and I don't think Disney's stupid enough to ask for that kind of deal. Honestly, don't think Bob Iger gives a crap about Star Wars, and would probably have no problem selling this off just so that way he can go out saying that my era was profitable. One possibility is that Disney could sell only certain rights, similar to how Marvel characters' rights have been distributed among several studios over the years. Sony, for example, retains film rights to Spider-Man and its associated characters, while Universal holds the theme park rights for Marvel attractions in Florida. If Disney is indeed looking to offload Star Wars, it could be considered a similar arrangement rather than a complete divestiture, which would make sense too. And it's one of them situations where, like, that would work, right? We just license the brand out to anybody else that wants to do it. And that would be great for the fans, because, yeah, we're probably going to get some really crappy Star Wars. That'll probably be what actually still comes from Disney. But when we license it out to other studios, you have the potential to at least find somebody like Kurtzman Trek, right? That's an absolute abomination. But everybody loves Picard Season 3. Why? Because Terry Matalas was in charge of it, and he actually loves Star Trek and did a really good job with it. If you find something like that, I don't know, maybe Star Wars Theory or somebody like that to come in and license this stuff out there, although everybody inside of Disney hates him. A licensing's out. But honestly, that just ends up being more of a headache and a lot of complications. Does Disney really think it's worth just trying to license out Star Wars like they do with Marvel? Is it possible they think that's only going to be profitable? I have no idea. But either way, this is where things currently sit out. So like Gore says out here, let's do an investigation together and get the full story. So that's why I'm making a video, because that's what this is. We need to be talking about this. We need to see if other people are out there, if they can get confirmed or not, because if it is, that is huge. And honestly, the selling of the Star Wars IP and just Lucasfilm as a whole, take it all, kit and caboodle, because they've destroyed everything inside of Lucasfilm. They destroyed Indiana Jones with the Dial of Dysentery. They destroyed Willow with that absolutely abysmal show about things that I don't even think I can actually mention on in a YouTube video and not get in trouble. And of course, we've seen what's happened to Star Wars. That would be the best thing in the world for the brand, right? This could actually really reinvigorate hope in the brand. Actually could reinvigorate Star Wars fans if they actually did this and finally get it up out from underneath Disney and all of the rest of the little woke psychopaths that have been charged. And honestly, if it all ends up turning out true and Kathleen Kennedy does end up retiring by the end of the year, that would be the perfect time to do all of that kind of stuff, because it wouldn't be, I mean, it'd still be embarrassing to her, because we all know the truth, that she's the reason why Disney Star Wars completely and totally failed miserably because of her own narcissism and ego. But at the end of the day, it would also kind of line up perfectly. It's like, well, you know, and because Disney can try to save face, well, without Kathy here, we really don't feel like we've got anybody that's got the vision, which of course is going to insult Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. We don't have the vision to really kind of see it and try to make it a successful brand. I don't know what kind of BS arguments or excuses they could come up with. I'm just speculating at this point, but at the end of the day, we need to know if this is true. And the point of this is doing all these videos. And like I said, Chris Gore is not going to put something out there unless it comes from a very reliable source. He's just asking for another source. We need another place, because it's trust but verify, right? That's always the rule of thumb, especially in media, especially in entertainment, especially in pretty much all aspects of your life. Trust but verify. Chris Gore trusts his friend inside the financial industry that he does believe that what he's saying is true. But we need to verify it for someone else, because if Star Wars truly is for sale, boys and girls, this could be the best thing to happen to Star Wars in literal sense. I mean, ever, because the biggest mistake George Lucas ever made was selling it to Disney in the first place. But at the end of the day, this could actually reinvigorate and give hope to fans for a franchise that is clearly and completely dead. That Star Wars is. Kathleen Kennedy killed it, and who knows? Boys and girls, let's hope all of this is true, because at the end of the day, this is the only way we are ever going to get good quality Star Wars again. And as for right now, this has been the Rumor Mill. This has been Common Nerd. And man, I'll tell you what, let's hope there really is a giant for sale sign right on the front of Lucasfilm.